in this task, this is task 4 of the project management course. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get you to start adding some constraints to your project and trying to start rearranging your project schedule based on some constraints that have been added for you. So what I want you to do first of all is go back to your Excel spreadsheet that you've been working on. Go to the HR Constraints tab. And when you get into the HR Constraints tab, my sheet already looks a little different than yours because I've worked ahead. But what I want you to start with is I want you to think about the weekly constraints that you have for your workers. Okay, so we start this off here, step 1. I need to add new columns, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So add those in here. Once you've added in this week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what I want you to start doing is getting ready to fill in the number of hours that your people are working based on your project. Again, your project is probably going to look different than mine, so don't go by my numbers here, go instead by your numbers. And where do you need to find those numbers? Let's go look at Tony Espinoza, and let's think about what he is going to be doing in week 1. Now, week 1 is going to be days 1 through 5. So let's go to the timesheet and let's look for days 1 through 5. Try to find Tony. Okay, I see it all up in here. Looks like Tony's only working 1 day in here for 8 hours. So week 1, Tony gets 8 hours placed here. Let's go check to see if Tony has anything in week 2. And it doesn't look like I have Tony anywhere else. So I can, for week 2, which is days 6 through 10, that's 0 for Tony all the way through week 6. All right. I can come back for Chin Chu, same thing. Find out when Chin is working. Looks like 8 hours. Day 3, maybe going into day 4, going on. So that's, once again, that is in week 1. Week 1, Chin has 8 hours. He doesn't work anywhere else. All right. Once you fill this in for everyone, okay, that is what you're doing in step 2. Everyone gets put in there. Step 3, you'll notice that the CEO, Alexandra Watts, was accidentally left off your sheet. So you can go ahead and make sure you get Alexandra put on there. Alexandra says she's going to work anytime you want this. She really wants this conference to go off. So you can go ahead and put her in for maximum of 40 hours per week. So you can put Alexandra in there. Once you have her in there, you can also go in and make sure that for you need to note that you have other tasks that you need to get done each week. So you need to put a maximum number of hours for yourself of 30, okay? So put your hours in there for 30. All right, now that you have completed that, in step number 5, what I'm asking you to do here is add up the column for each person on the HR constraint. So in a column out here called total, I'm going to sum up all of the hours for Tony. Once I've done that, I can click and just drag it down for everyone. So you can see here that for me, it's the sum of all of these items. And then I have a total number here, the sum of everything. And I'll tell you why we're going to put that in here. The 216 is the number of hours that I think that people are working, but I need to go back over here and make sure that that's the total number of hours over on my timesheet as well. So here's what I want you to do to make sure that that's true. On the timesheet, come over and you're going to add 2 new columns, all right? And these 2 new columns that I'm looking for is step 6. And what we're going to do in step 6, total resources column, total hours. Total resources is going to be the total number of people that you have assigned to this individual task. The very first one, Task 2, develop an agenda. That's just you. That's one person. Total resources for the second one, well, that's you and Tony. That's 2 people. You get it. Fill that in for everybody. And then the next part is the total number of hours associated with that task. This is the total number of resources times how long you think it's going to take you to complete the task. Number 1, one resource, 8 hours total. Second task there, 2 people for 8 hours, 2 times 8 is 16. Fill that in for all of your people, okay, for each one of your tasks rather. Make sure that you have some here that are skipped, right? If it is a planning, then there's no task for that because it's just a header. And then also for like choose a venue. Choose a venue has no hours for it either because you have subtasks that build up to it. Once you get all those total hours into it, sum up all of those hours and make sure that the time here matches the time on your constraints. Okay, that way you know that you have accounted for everything in there. All right. Next thing I want you to do is step 7 is looking at conditional formatting. Conditional formatting in Excel is just a way for me to visualize any problems that I might have going on. The way I do that, and you can see I've already started here in this sheet, what I want to be able to do from a visualization standpoint is I want to be able to look for Tony, and I want to look at every week that Tony works and see if the time that Tony is working exceeds my maximum hours. Again, left click and drag to highlight, go to conditional formatting, highlight cells where greater than, okay, and this is what it's saying, if this cell is greater than this number, and you can either put the number in or you can just click on the cell that you're interested in. And then it gives a format. Okay, let me do that again. Conditional formatting, highlight cells greater than the maximum hours, and then it gives it a condition. If this is greater than B3, put a light red fill color and give me dark red text. All right, now you can use this, you can change those around if you want to. Again, that way you can get a quick look and say, okay, here are my problem areas right now from constraints. Week 1, I have problems with Tony, Chin, Mark, and me. Week 4, I have problems with me that I need to be able to go in and I need to work with. All right, so what I'm going to do is I now need to start thinking about how can I go back to my timesheet and make it to where Tony doesn't work more than 4 hours per week. You know, I could probably do that by letting him work 4 hours in week 1 and 4 hours in week 2, right? So because I'm gonna need total of 8 hours for, it's gonna take 8 hours to develop a budget. Tony has to be there. I probably could do, I could do 4 hours of it in week 1. Again, week 1 is days 1 through 5. But then the other one, if I'm going to put him, so if I can work 4 hours for him here and 4 hours in week 2, you can see that whenever I punch those in that the problem went away, right? The conditional formatting took care of it. So I'm going to work 4 hours day 1 through 5 for Tony, and then he's going to get 4 hours day 6 through 10. Let's go take that task that Tony was in and change it now to where he ends on day 6. Again, Tony was here. I had him ending day 3 before. Let's change that to ending on day 6 now. All right. Things that just happened. I fixed Tony. That's great. However, I just took 4 of Tony's hours and shifted them over to day 6. I'm also working that exact same task. So that means that I'm no longer working these 4 hours or 4 of these hours in week 1. Instead, I've shifted mine to week 2 as well. So I'm going to take 4 hours off here. I'm going to add those 4 hours here because of the way that task is working. Well, now there's a problem. I've just created a situation now where I'm over there. Fixed Tony, but I created a problem for me. All right, same thing for Chin-Chu. Chin-Chu, he can only work 6 hours a day. So let's put him to where he's going to work 6 hours in week 1, 2 hours in week 2. How am I going to accomplish that? Chin's going to do the first part of his work on day 3. He can't finish it though until day 6 would be the earliest of that next week. But I'm already getting myself to where I've blocked myself because I know I'm working on day 6 as well. Let's go ahead and finish Chin off here on day 7. See if that works. Okay, I fixed Chin. So that means I have moved 2 of my hours from here to here. So that means I've got 34 hours here, 34 hours here. Okay, that you start to see how we can start moving people around, changing these people to where they, where we're able to manage people's work schedule in the weeks that they're on. Continue down through there, removing those red sections. And then the next thing that we're going to get to as you continue to work down through this are your predecessors. Okay? And what I mean by predecessors, and we've talked about that before, we know that there are relationships between some tasks and other tasks. In particular, task number 7, publish a general plan. We have to finish task 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 before we can publish the general plan. I told you we just went through and we adjusted these 2 end dates. When I adjusted these 2 end dates, what I've also done is I might have messed up the start date that I can go with for task 7. Publish general plan again. Task 2, it still finishes before my start date here, 7, so I'm okay. 3, finishes on day 6. I'm not planning on starting until day 7. I'm okay. Task 4, the way I just put this in with Chin, I'm going to finish on day 7, which means I really can't start now until day 8, right? So that means my new start date for this can't be until day 8. So we'll put it there. We'll start on day 8. We'll start in the morning and we'll finish it on day 8. Let's check to make sure that we don't have any problems with task 5. Nope, it's okay. Task 6, no, it's okay. All right, so once again, as you continue to work through here and you're working through your human resources, go back through and check to make sure that your predecessors don't also cause a problem for you. Then finally, the last thing that we have on you are the milestones, okay? So again, you're going to continue to work through each one of your problems here. Work through your predecessors to make sure that you're balanced. Every time you change the hours that are being worked, make sure that you haven't changed your overall hours that the people are working. And then finally, whenever it comes to milestones, your milestones are also going to become a problem here for you as well. Let's go take a look. Budget has to be done by day 3. Let's go back to our timeline. Develop a budget. It now says that I can't finish my budget until day 6. All right, under milestones, I'm on step 1. I'm reviewing the milestone. Step 2 of milestones, it says that I'm checking to see if there's a problem. I cannot do anything at all because of Tony's schedule. I can't do anything at all to make my milestone any earlier than 6. So I'm just going to highlight it. Put a little note out here. Tony Espinosa is needed. Earliest finish is day 6. Okay, go through each one of your milestones. It may be possible that you can go through and rearrange some things on your timeline to make those milestones work. Because what you're going to have to do with these milestones, the boss is the one that gave you these milestones, and you're going to have to go back into the boss and say, okay, here's my plan. We're going to finish all the stuff. However, these are the milestones we're going to miss. And the boss is going to have to look down at this and say, no, 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 no. There's a problem. You know, the boss may tell you, go tell Tony that he's authorized to work more hours for you this week or whatever else, okay? So again, now you're going through, checking out your milestones, highlighting the ones that are problems so that you can go back to the boss. All right, lots of juggling this week, lots of maneuvering and changing things around. Again, your numbers are not going to look exactly like my numbers. You have your plan on the way that you're doing this. There is no perfect answer. However, the way that you'll be graded this week is you need to make sure that all of your constraints are met, that your predecessors are taken care of, and that you're telling me as the boss where we have problems. Okay? Good luck this week. Lots of moving going on. You can do it. Just keep after it and keep pressing forward.